Welcome to the next episode of Increment with Alpha Alarm. I'm here with my colleague, Luke. Luke, how are you today?
I'm awesome, thank you, Ganesh.
So what is the agenda for today?
So the agenda for today is I want to start off by talking about this competition that we're going to be running called Prompt Master. When this goes out, I think the first week would have already been done, where we're focusing on the Fantom ecosystem. We have a no-code solution to building on-chain analytics where you answer some of these questions. I'll show you a demo in a second, but you answer some of these questions, you form a prompt, and then you're able to get the analytics that you need. So we want to run this competition where people come on and use our product to write Twitter threads and analysis, write these prompts and get this data, and then the best analysis will be rewarding dollar prizes too. So first place will be $100, second place will be $50, and then third and fourth will be $25 each.
Incredible. So we're doing a weekly competition where you use Increment's no-code solution and you prompt Increment to create these compelling analysis on whatever topic you want, whatever model, whatever sector, whatever protocol that you want. But every week has a different theme, and the first theme is with Fantom, the Fantom ecosystem. And we're giving out prices of $250 every week to 4 participants, and every week is a different theme.
So there's no real, so it's just the Fantom ecosystem that we're focusing on. So you can go into some of our NFT data because we label some of the NFT sales. You can go into the DEX data where we label the swaps, add and remove liquidity. So some really interesting analysis you can do around, what tokens getting removed, what tokens getting added in terms of liquidity. And then also our lending.
Just the Fantom ecosystem, right? Look at the number of transactions, look at,
retention.
What is average gas price, wallet growth. I think recently, the last couple of weeks, they've had a dramatic increase in the number of wallets. So that could be something that's very interesting to look at. So how does one actually partake in this weekly competition?
So it's very, very simple. We have a blog post up right now that gives you all of the details about when, where to submit, what to submit, and then that will lead you to a Notion page where you'll submit your work. And it's very, very simple. You just give some of your sort of credentials like your Twitter, your Discord, and so on and so forth, so we can distribute rewards to you, submit your work, and then that's it. Very simple.
Incredible. Okay. So let's look at Increment.
Let's jump into how you actually form one of these prompts for everyone watching. So when you come to Increment, this is what the screen that you get when you click on Increment at the platform page. And you can come to one of these 3 buttons called Use Models here. Now we have 5 different models that you can pick from. So chain GDP is just like those general chain stats you were talking about, transactions, wallets, month-over-month growth, gas price. And then DEXs, futures, JPEG, and lending is where you go into one of these sectors. So let's start by just looking at some general Fantom data, such as transactions. So I can click on the chain GDP model. And what I'm presented with is now 5 questions that I'm going to answer. The first one being, what would you like to measure? So let's start by going, okay, I'd like to count the number of transactions. That's what I want to measure. Second is, what time period would you like to analyze this within? So you can click something like the last 30 days. And by day, what chain would you like to analyze? So let's zero in on Fantom here. What filters would you like to apply? We've applied the chain name filter there. And then what would you like to group your data by? So here we're just going to find, we're just going to group by chain name. And now what you can see down the bottom here is you have this prompt where it says use the chain GDP model to calculate count transactions from the last 30 days aggregated by day while chain name equals Fantom and results are grouped by chain name.
But because you've only picked one chain, which is Fantom, it's only going to have one series. Got it.
So when I click apply here, what I see is the count, the daily count of transactions for the Fantom chain. I can come up and I can chart this data, segment by chain name so I can see the chain. And now I can see the daily transactions for Fantom across the last 30 days.
Incredible. Okay. So end to end, this took us maybe a minute?
Yeah, because we were also explaining it. So, if you really wanted to hustle
Yeah.
along here, it'd take you 10, 15 seconds.
Incredible. Okay, so now can you tell me what dimensions and measures are that you see on the left-hand pane?
Yeah, so your dimensions your measures are very simple. So your dimensions are just what you want to group your data by. So in this example, what we're grouping the count of transactions by is by day and by chain. So you can look at the transactions by day and chain. Your measure is simply like your aggregation. What do you want to aggregate? What do you want to measure, right? Your count of transactions, your count of active addresses, your total transfer volume, and so on and so forth. So you curate these dimensions and these measures, you apply any filters that you may want, and then you form your query like this.
And these dimensions and measures, who creates these?
Yeah, so this is actually created by our internal team, all the models. So once you curate these dimensions and measures, they actually auto-generate this SQL here. Now, you don't need to interact with this. You don't need to understand this code. This is just what's sort of happening for everyone that understands SQL. And then this SQL gets created and vetted by our team, right? So our team is the one that's sort of QAing all of this SQL getting written. So you know that when you curate these dimensions and measures, what you're picking is what you're getting, right? But when you pick count active addresses, you're getting the count of active addresses.
Incredible. So if I were to write this SQL from scratch, looking at how complicated this is, it's probably going to take me maybe 25, 30 minutes if I know all the field names and if I know all the nuances of the underlying database. But here, what we've built is a SQL compiler where you have a no-code prompt style approach that compiles down to SQL.
Yeah.
But because the measures and dimensions are built by our team with the expert knowledge of these protocols, you have the confidence that it has gone through the QA process, and you can be confident that the resulting analysis is solid. Unlike if you missed something in your SQL, there's a chance that your analysis is incorrect.
Yeah.
And so that's the value prop that's coming out of this new interface.
And I think that would make people nervous if they couldn't see the actual SQL that was getting written here. And that's why we provide this to people. You can actually see what's happening if you do want to vet this and understand what you're actually analyzing. And we allow you to do that.
Incredible. And if I were to copy the SQL into the SQL dashboards and hit run, will I get the same analysis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're wanting to do something extremely custom that isn't baked into the model, you're able to come and click and have like 95% of your query built, where you can come and copy it into an editor and then do like a few small changes.
Okay. But you can still add filters, you can add, change all of those, the shape of the query without having to write or modify that SQL. Everything is just drag and drop and point and click.
Point and click, exactly. Yeah, so you can create very complicated analysis based on dimensions and measures and these filters that are extremely custom to your use case.
If a user has a dimension or a measure that isn't in the model, what would be the approach? Would they reach out to us to add that to the model, or is the team taking a curated approach and an opinionated approach on these measures, dimensions? Like, what is the process to get your, let's say, your unique measure included in the model?
Yeah, so we want to, we don't claim to know everything. There's a lot of people with their custom use case, and we'd love to hear users' unique use cases so we can adapt the product for their use case. So yeah, we're always open to building or baking in your exact custom use case into these models.
Very cool.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is once you curate these dimensions, these measures, these filters, and you start to curate your own dashboards, what's very, very interesting is these filters automatically bubble up to the actual dashboard that you create. So there's no like messing around with weird syntax. Like you can see here, this like what's called like liquid template to get these filters up into the dashboard. Just automatically works out of the box. So we've used the Chain GDP model to build out dashboard called Chain GDP. Yeah, so what we have is we have the Chain GDP dashboard, and this has all of the network level stats across the 100+ chains that we support. Currently, the default is set for Avalanche, so if you want to come into this dashboard, it's public. It's pinned to everyone's account when you sign up. So if you want to come view a different chain such as Fantom, all we have to do is change the chain name filter that we've defined on that model. So when we created the model before, and we saw that chain name filter where we made it Fantom, or if we added that to a page, that would just automatically come up to the top here as a filter. So really, really powerful. So what we can do is we can make this Fantom. We can extend the timeline to the last 3 months and click apply. Awesome. And now we get the reach, retention, and revenue metrics for Fantom over the last 3 months. So let's jump into some of these statistics. So one that was really, really interesting to me was their retention. They had 1.2 million new users in November, which was really, really interesting. They had a pretty big drop-off the months following, but I mean, that's to be expected when you have such an anomaly month here, because they had a lot of integrations such as Gitcoin, Ramp Network, which was like off-chain money going into Fantom, and a whole bunch of things like this. But over the months where it's like pretty consistent in the hundreds of thousands of new users, they have relatively high retention earlier in the year, but it's starting to drop off. Obviously, maybe some of the the headwinds from the current market and so on and so forth. Then the revenue, and I didn't get a chance to jump into some of these spikes. There's about $1 billion in DEX volume, about $1 million over the last 3 months, about $1 million in gas fees over the last 3 months. So they're operating about $4 million a year in terms of the revenue coming into the validators and the foundation. So as we move down, there's some really interesting spikes that happen, and we see this across like all of the data, including like some of the DEX data, NFT sales data. So I didn't get a chance to actually jump into the specifics about this, jump into the other models and look across these sectors, but maybe this is something for some of the analysts to do within this prompt master competition. Jump into some of these models, jump into and see these dates such as April and March to see what's actually happening within these spikes.
May 15th is when the prompt master competition kickstart. Good luck to the participants.
Awesome. See you guys.
Take care. Bye.